Hi, my name's Steve Barrett. I'm the Editor-in-Chief of PRWeek. I'm delighted to be here with Bill Coletti, who's the co-lead of Hill+Knowlton Strategies crisis practice. Bill, welcome. Great to have you here.
Steve, glad to be here.
We're going to talk today about Hill+Knowlton's panel at the PRWeek Conference, which I hope you all know, takes place on September the 17th. It's all about content. It's called the PESO Principles. It's about how you can use content to supercharge your brand strategy. We've got a great lineup of keynote speakers and some fantastic panels, one of which is yours, Bill, and you're going to be talking all about crisis communications and that crazy period, basically, that you have to react quickly and be very strategic. But that doesn't just happen, does it? You've got to be prepared and put the hard yards in beforehand. So tell us what the session's going to be about and what people will be able to take away from it.
Terrific. Well, thanks. Well, first of all, thank you for the partnership. This is going to be exciting to do it with you guys. So this is going to be fun. So what we wanted to do when we talked about this is not just teaching about crisis, but really give the audience an opportunity to participate and kind of get their heart racing and experience it. So what we're going to do is we have a platform called Flight School, and Flight School is a co-creation of our digital group as well as our crisis group. We're going to use that. It's an opportunity for people to experience the social media and the intensity of a crisis. So we're going to have a panel of experts from law enforcement, local government, media, as well as corporate, to come together and walk through a scenario while the audience is also working through the scenario as well. So there's going to be some real give and take feedback with the group, and really with a focus on, we've now got content because we've created it in the moment, but how do we use it long term and what impacts do it have? So we're going to use this panel of experts to really sort of give feedback in real time of how a former member of a mayor's chief of staff, how a member of law enforcement, how somebody from the media, how they would be reacting in real time.
That sounds great. So it's an interactive session. The audience will be getting involved. It's not a lean back and fall asleep after lunch or whatever. And that's a good point you made about content. You use it in a crisis, but it's going to sit there for the long term. So you've got to think about that as well, because obviously people are going to go back and maybe look at it retrospectively.
Absolutely, and I think one of the things from Hill+Knowlton's standpoint that we're really focused on is that a lot of people do crisis management really well, but what we want to focus on is that long tail, because most crises end up months and weeks later in litigation, regulatory oversight. Congress is going to look at it. So what happens in the moment might feel right, but there needs to be a break in there somewhere on what impact is it going to have long term, and that's fundamentally about content, where that content lives and breathes for the long term.
So how do you strike that balance between, you've got to act quickly, you know, you have to, especially these days in social media, information is flying around real time, but also not putting your foot in it, not 140 characters, you can quickly sort of cause yourself an even worse crisis. So how do you just strike that balance?
Yeah. You know, we really believe that it's about simulation and exercise and coordination with the General Counsel's office, coordination with the communicators, coordination with executive communications, so that's been trained in a little bit of a calmer setting, and we've sort of got some pre-agreement with the General Counsel's office on some broad parameters. We've got pre-agreement from the C-suite on what's there. And so by simulating, and that's what the Flight School platform does a really good job of, that lets you exercise that, and then everyone's judgment is aligned when you walk in the room or when you get that first phone call when the crisis comes. You're not making it up as you go along. And that's kind of a best practice of what best companies are doing, is they're practicing before they actually get thrown into the middle of the crisis.
Okay, so finally, what do you want people to take away from it, and why should they choose your panel to come and see?
Absolutely. So we also want to create an environment where we can group learn together, and everybody can have an opportunity to participate in a very sort of smart but authentic way. Everybody can learn something together. I think what's going to be unique about it is what you said. After lunch, people can get engaged. We're going to have to actually write a few statements and some comments and things like that. So we want people to walk away with a real understanding about the long-term impacts of content, and we want people to understand that coordination is a key and practice is a key in any crisis situation.
Great, sounds good. I'm really looking forward to this session. So it's a real interactive demonstration of crisis communications in practice. Come along on September the 17th. I think it's the best program we've ever put together, I've got to say, for the PRWeek Conference. It's all about the PESO principles, paid, earned, shared and owned. We've got the CMO of Target, we've got the CMO of Nissan, we've got senior folks from Coca-Cola, from News Corporation, plus excellent panels, including Bill's panel on crisis communication. So look forward to seeing you there. You can find out more at PRWeekUS.com.